What's up, guys? It's Oracle from Webull, the dog face guy that talks about blood flow, vascularity, and how hard he is on an hourly basis. I first off want to say that if I've offended you with my passion and my commentary in the Webull comments, I apologize. It's nothing personal. I'm just having fun. I'm having fun, and I'm genuinely passionate about the stock market. And we're all in this together. I want everyone to succeed, and I don't wish any harm on anyone, on any trader. So, um, if I offended you, I apologize. Up here, I have Meta platforms, and as a lot of you know by now, the Weeble traders. As a lot of you know by now, I have absolutely been destroyed in Meta this year. I took some big losses this year, and I was absolutely humbled. My manhood was taken from me, and it was a good thing. It was a good learning experience. I've learned to never have so much margin in a position. And just because a stock is cheap doesn't mean it can't get cheaper. That's the biggest takeaway from 2022. And there's no doubt that Meta is cheap. She's trading, I think, at a forward price to earnings of 10 or something like that. And relative to her past, that is extremely cheap. She used to trade around, the high 20s, multiple. So um, don't ever put yourself in a big hole like that, with that much risk. It can humble you, that's for sure. Um, However, I wanted to share with you my ideas and my opinion short term with Meta. I'm short term bearish. Here on the chart, I've highlighted some gaps. Here's a gap to the upside, and here's two gaps to the downside. If you're not familiar with what a gap is, this is a gap. It's literally a gap where there's no candles. And if you've been trading for a while, you know that gaps get filled eventually. Majority of the time, gaps get filled. It doesn't mean go out there and go buy a stock right now because of gaps. Be careful. You still have to pay attention to, the stocks, obviously fundamentals, right? Because there could be a reason why there's a big gap in a stock, because maybe it's going to be delisted, or maybe the company doesn't have any more money. So just keep in mind of that. However, in Meta's case, she's still a cash cow. She's still relevant in today's world. Over 3 billion users worldwide and in the family of apps. So, I'm pretty confident that Meta, will eventually fill the gaps to the upside. And there's more gaps than just that to the upside. All of 22 has just been a bloodbath. So keep that in mind as well. However, I'm short-term bearish because, the overall market, in my opinion, is still too high. You have Apple trading still, in the 20 multiple range. You still have Amazon, I think, trading, above an 80 multiple. You still have Tesla trading, above, 40 multiples. So you still have these big tech stocks, that they're just too heavy, man. They're too big, and they're too expensive right now, and they're going to eventually start to drag everything down more. Let's go ahead and bring up an indicator I like to use. They're called exponential moving averages. And what it does is it just takes the average, data points, the average price action of a stock, and it tries to make sense of it. So let's go ahead and zoom out so you can see what I'm talking about. This blue line represents a 5-day moving average. This tan line represents a 10-day moving average, and this green line represents a 20-day moving average. And when the blue line is at the bottom of those lines, it's very bearish. It's showing, weak price action. And this goes all the way back to, God, let's zoom out even more and just to see. She's been bearish for months, Meta. There's been nothing bullish for months. This blue line has been, below those moving averages for months. And just recently, she bounced off this, 88 range, and showed some strength. However, it's still not bullish. It's starting to become bullish, but it's still not bullish. And unfortunately, I think she's losing steam. Um, you can go to a 4-hour chart, and this will show you, a different time frame, which will give you, all new different averages. But let me zoom out so you can see what I'm saying. So she was bullish there, that past few days. She stayed above. She was respecting these EMA lines, bouncing off them, showing some strength. However, she did get to that 118.74 range, 74-cent range, and she started to show signs of, a reversal, weakness, losing steam. Now, today, November 21st, she is below that EMA line. And I started buying puts right at that 118 range, right when I started to kind of see weakness in the stock. And right when I started to see that, Apple was losing steam, is when I started to kind of buy puts. So I believe short term, Meta will continue to fall down and fill those gaps to the bottom. That doesn't mean go out there and buy puts. It doesn't mean short it. Keep in mind, she could trade sideways for a long time and kill your premium, can kill your options. And it's just better not to FOMO into any position right now. Just take your time. Let's go ahead and pull up Apple. So here's a 4-hour chart. As you can see, she's starting to lose steam. She's well below that 5-day exponential moving average, that blue line. She's starting to show some weakness. And she was very strong, just like, Meta was, just like the NASDAQ was. And they're starting to kind of lose steam, as you can see. For good reason, too, because, in my opinion, like I said, the stock market is still overvalued. Let's pull up the SPX, or the S&P 500 chart, and you can see even on here, again, this is a 4-hour chart. She's starting to lose steam, guys. She's starting to lose momentum. Let's go to a daily chart. I did want to point out the gap that I saw in the SPX chart. There is a gap to the bottom here, right around 3816, 3,816. However, there is a gap above at 4,083 range. So do I think she fills the gap to the upside first or the gap to the downside first? Nobody knows, and nobody can tell you, I personally think she's going to fill the gap to the downside. And, that speculation is just based on, how Apple's losing steam, how this is a short week. You got Thanksgiving on Thursday, and then you have a short day on Friday. So I feel like markets tend to sell off when there's a holiday approaching and a short week. But again, nothing's guaranteed. I don't know the future, and if someone pretends to, don't listen to them. I also forgot to mention that Apple has some gaps to the downside too. So we have one at 138 and 45 cents, and then you have one at 132.56 cents. So keep that in mind. There are gaps to the downside on Apple as well. So I'm hoping that, that these gaps to the downside fill, Oh wow, look at Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's been absolutely annihilated, the past few days. The other thing I want to point out is the RSI indicator. She is showing an oversold on the daily. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to buy this right now. It doesn't mean that, she's going to bounce either. So be careful. If you're not familiar with an RSI line, it's just another indicator that, shows the strength of a stock. So if she's above 70, that means she's overbought. That means it might be a good time to, take profits. It might be a time to even potentially buy puts, if you're an option guy. And the same thing down here, usually when you get into an oversold territory below that 30 RSI line, it might be time to, be a little bullish short term. However, that's not always going to be the case. And just be careful out there, guys. I am very bearish short term here in this market. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is below, that exponential moving average on a daily chart. So, I just showed you, 4 or 5 stocks, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Meta, even the SPX, the S&P 500. And those big stocks are starting to show that they're losing steam. So that's why I'm short-term bearish. I do have puts on Meta. I do hope that those gaps get filled to the bottom. If they do get filled to the bottom on Meta, I will be adding more to my long position. And, I am ready, because I sold my margin. So just be careful out there, guys. And I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you think that, we're going to bounce higher, we're going to fill those gaps to the upside. If you're bullish in 2023, please let me know. I'd love to hear your ideas. So yeah, let's let's kick some butt in 2023, guys. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it.